In today's story, a bride discovers that her fiancé secretly withdrew their wedding deposits to cover gambling losses, then lied when he won the money back. Before we begin, settle in and enjoy tonight's story. My fiancé used our wedding deposits to pay his gambling debt. The venue coordinator asked me why we had cancelled our wedding while I was standing inside the room where it was supposed to happen. I had gone there on my lunch break to confirm the table layout. Our wedding was 7 weeks away. The coordinator, Marissa, was holding a printed floor plan when she said, "I'm glad you came in. I wasn't sure whether you still wanted the final walkthrough after the cancellation." I thought she had confused us with another couple. We didn't cancel. Her expression changed immediately. She opened the booking system on her tablet. Our date was still listed beside our names, but the reservation status showed pending release. The original deposit had been refunded 12 days earlier. I stared at the screen. "That can't be right." Marissa turned the tablet toward me. The refund had gone back to the card used for the deposit. It was not my card. My fiancé, Aaron, handled most of the vendor payments because he had a rewards card with a higher limit. I transferred my share into our joint wedding account and he paid the invoices. At least, that was what I believed. Marissa said Aaron had emailed to explain that we might be moving the wedding because of a family medical issue. He requested the deposit back before the cancellation deadline. She showed me the email. It came from Aaron's address. The wording sounded like him. There was no family medical issue. "How much was refunded?" I asked. $8,500. My mouth went dry. The venue deposit represented nearly half our available wedding cash. I asked Marissa not to release the date. She said she could hold it for 48 hours, but we would need to repay the deposit. I left the venue and called Aaron. He answered from work. "Hey, what's up? Why did you cancel the venue?" Silence. Then he said, "I didn't. I'm standing outside. They refunded the deposit to your card. That must be part of the payment issue." "What payment issue?" I was going to explain tonight. "Explain now." He lowered his voice. The processor flagged some of the wedding transactions. The venue refund is temporary while the bank verifies everything. Marissa says you requested it. She probably misunderstood the email. I read the email. Another pause. Aaron said his company card had been compromised recently and the bank had placed several personal transactions under review. He claimed the venue payment, caterer deposit, photographer payment, and hotel room block were all caught in the review. He said the money was in limbo, not missing, not spent. Just moving between the vendors, card processor, and bank. How much is in limbo? About $14,000. That is almost everything we paid. I know. That's why I didn't want to tell you until I had a solution. You told the venue we had a medical emergency. I needed them to reverse it before the bank disputed it automatically. That makes no sense. It does if you understand chargeback procedures. I did not understand chargeback procedures well enough to challenge him immediately. Aaron worked in sales operations. He dealt with payment systems and corporate cards more often than I did. That knowledge gave his explanation just enough structure to sound plausible. He promised to show me every transaction that evening. Then he asked me not to contact the other vendors because multiple inquiries could complicate the review. That request bothered me more than the explanation. I called the photographer anyway. She had not received a deposit. Aaron had sent me a payment confirmation 3 months earlier. The photographer said she had held the date as a courtesy because Aaron claimed the bank transfer was delayed. She was still waiting. The caterer told me the same thing. No deposit had cleared. No money was trapped with the vendors. Aaron had created the appearance of payment using screenshots, email threads, and pending transfer notices. By the time I returned to work, I knew at least $14,000 had never reached the people he said were holding it. 7 weeks before my wedding, the venue coordinator asked why we had cancelled. My fiancé had requested an $8,500 refund and claimed there was a family medical emergency. When I called him, he said the money was only trapped in payment processing. Then I contacted the other vendors and learned they had never received their deposits. Aaron arrived home carrying takeout and a folder. He behaved as though he were prepared for a difficult but ordinary financial conversation. He spread documents across the dining table. There were card statements, bank printouts, vendor emails, and a page he had created showing the movement of each deposit. According to his chart, the venue refund was pending, the photographer transfer had been rejected, the caterer payment had been delayed, the hotel deposit was under fraud review. He had highlighted dates and written explanations in the margins. I asked to see the actual bank account. He opened the banking app on his phone. Our joint wedding account contained $912. It should have contained more than $6,000 after the scheduled deposits and recent gifts. Where is the rest? It was transferred to cover the card balance while the disputes are resolved. Show me. He switched to his credit card app. The balance was low. There were no obvious missing transactions. For a moment, relief almost overcame suspicion. Then I noticed the available credit. Aaron's card had a $30,000 limit. The available credit was just over $11,000. That meant the balance was close to $19,000, not the small figure shown on the first screen. He had displayed the statement balance, not the current balance. What is the $19,000? His hand stopped moving. He said there were business expenses awaiting reimbursement. I asked to see them. He said some were confidential. I told him to stop. For the first time that evening, the calm expression disappeared. I asked one question: "Did you use our wedding money to pay your credit card?" He looked down at the documents. "Temporarily, how much?" "It is complicated." "How much?" $14,000. The same amount supposedly trapped between vendors. I asked what had been on the card. He said ordinary expenses had accumulated: travel, client dinners, equipment, a few personal purchases. I asked why his employer had not reimbursed him. He said some receipts were still being reviewed. Then I saw a merchant name on the current balance. It belonged to an online sports betting platform. I recognized it because Aaron had once shown me the app during a football game. The transaction was for $3,000. There were several others. Some appeared as cash advances. Others used payment processors with generic names. I took the phone from his hand before he could close the screen. He tried to take it back. I stood and moved away. The betting transactions went back at least 9 months, hundreds at first, then thousands, deposits followed by withdrawals. Cash advances followed by payments from our wedding account. I found one transfer for $5,000 made the day after my parents gave us money for the caterer. Another transfer matched the amount of my annual bonus, which I had placed into the wedding account. Aaron had not used the deposits to cover ordinary debt. He had used them to cover gambling losses. "How much have you lost?" He said the account did not show the full picture. "That is not what I asked. I won some of it back." "How much did you lose?" "At the worst point, about $26,000. I sat down. We did not have $26,000 available. He had borrowed the difference. Cash advances, personal loans, credit cards. He said the situation had escalated after he lost $8,000 on a basketball playoff bet. He tried to recover it through smaller bets. Those lost too. Then he used our venue deposit to pay down the card before the minimum payment was due. After that, he gambled part of the remaining wedding money because he believed one strong weekend could replace everything. I asked whether he had recovered it. Aaron looked at me for several seconds. "Yes." That answer did not fit the story. "If you recovered it, where is it?" "In another account." "What account?" He opened a separate banking app. The balance was $17,400. I stared at the number. The money existed. He had won enough to replace the wedding funds. He had not restored them. He had kept the recovered money in an account I did not know about while telling me it remained trapped with vendors. "Why didn't you put it back?" "I needed to make sure the withdrawals cleared." "They cleared." "I also needed a buffer in case the card payments were reversed." "When did you win it back?" 3 weeks ago. He had recovered the wedding money 3 weeks earlier. Since then, he had continued telling me that vendors held our deposits. He had requested the venue refund 12 days earlier. The refund was not part of recovering the loss. It came after he had already won the money back. That meant he now had both the recovered gambling winnings and the returned venue deposit. Nearly $26,000 had moved through his control. He had chosen to hide it. My fiancé admitted using $14,000 of wedding money to cover gambling losses. Then he showed me a secret account containing $17,000. He had already won the money back 3 weeks earlier. Instead of restoring the deposits, he kept the balance hidden and continued telling me the vendors still controlled it. Aaron said he had intended to replace every deposit before I noticed. He wanted to repay the credit cards, restore the wedding account, and emerge from the situation without putting me through unnecessary stress. I asked why he cancelled the venue after winning the money back. He said the refund created flexibility. What flexibility? If I paid the venue again immediately, we would have no reserve. The venue deposit was the reserve. No, it was committed. That is what a deposit is. He became frustrated. He said I was focusing on the sequence instead of the result. The result, according to him, was that we still had enough money to continue with the wedding. He could transfer the $17,000 that night. The venue could be repaid. The other vendors could receive their deposits. Nothing had to change. I asked whether he had stopped gambling. He said yes. I opened the betting app again. There had been a wager that morning, $500 on a baseball game. He claimed it was a promotional credit. The transaction showed cash. Then he said it was the final bet already in progress. The game had not started yet. I asked him to withdraw it. He refused. It will settle tonight. Cancel it. You can't cancel a placed bet, then cash out. The value has moved. He was discussing $500 of our wedding money as though I were interrupting a financial strategy. I told him to transfer the entire secret account balance into our joint account. He said he would transfer $14,000, every dollar. Some of it is mine. You created the account with money taken from us. I won more than I took, with money you took. He argued that the winnings above the original amount were technically his. I told him the wedding was paused until every account, loan, and transaction was disclosed. He said pausing the wedding would create panic. I said the wedding was already cancelled at the venue. He walked into the kitchen and began pacing. Then he did something I had not expected. He blamed me, not directly at first. He said wedding planning had become expensive and rigid. He said every vendor demanded money months in advance. He said he felt pressure to create the wedding I wanted while also saving for a house. I reminded him that we chose the budget together. He said I never understood what it felt like to be responsible for making the numbers work. I earned slightly more than he did. We had split the wedding costs proportionally. The financial pressure was not his alone, but he had appointed himself the person who controlled the accounts. That allowed him to reinterpret theft as management. I asked for his phone and laptop. He refused. I said I would contact every vendor and cancel unless he provided full access. He accused me of threatening our future over a mistake he had already corrected. The phrase "already corrected" became the center of his defense. The money was back. Therefore, the loss had not happened. The vendors could still be paid. Therefore, the deception had not caused damage. I had discovered the truth before the wedding. Therefore, I should be relieved instead of angry. I called my sister and asked whether I could stay with her. Aaron followed me into the bedroom while I packed. He said leaving would make the situation look worse than it was. I said, "It looks exactly as bad as it is." He transferred $14,000 into the joint account before I left. He kept the remaining $3,400. I moved the $14,000 into an account under my name. Then I froze the joint account. Aaron texted that I had stolen his money. I replied that the transfer was documented and represented less than the amount I had contributed. He did not respond. The next morning, his mother called me. Aaron had told her there was a misunderstanding involving vendor refunds. She said payment processors sometimes created alarming delays. I asked whether he had told her about the gambling. Silence. Then she said Aaron had struggled with sports betting in college but had been stable for years. I had never heard that before. She begged me not to cancel the wedding. She said public embarrassment could trigger another episode. That sentence revealed the family structure immediately. His gambling created the danger. My reaction was expected to manage it. I asked whether she had ever paid his debts. She admitted she and his father had covered almost $12,000 6 years earlier. Aaron had told me the money they gave him then was for graduate school expenses. It was another lie. His mother said he had attended counseling and signed a self-exclusion agreement. I asked whether he was still excluded. She did not know. I contacted the betting company's responsible gambling department. They could not discuss his account with me. They confirmed that account holders could request self-exclusion, spending limits, or permanent closure. Aaron had done none of those things. When I asked him to close the account in front of me, he said he first needed to withdraw unsettled funds and resolve tax records. He kept generating administrative reasons for continued access. Meanwhile, I contacted every vendor. The photographer released our date immediately. The caterer required a new deposit within 5 days. The hotel had never finalized the room block. The venue would hold the date for one more day. The wedding was no longer a plan. It was a set of expiring options. Aaron said he could fix all of them. He sent me screenshots showing payments queued from the secret account. I called the vendors myself. None had received them. He had scheduled the transfers, but set the processing date for the following week. I asked why. He said he wanted time to confirm that we were still proceeding. That was another reversal. First, the vendors held the money, then the bank held it. Then he had restored it. Now he was withholding it until I proved I still intended to marry him. The funds had become leverage. I canceled the venue. The $8,500 refund returned to his card because it had been the original payment method. Aaron immediately transferred it to the secret account. I saw the balance increase because he had briefly given me view-only access. Then he revoked access. He said he was protecting the money from an emotional decision. I called an attorney. We were not married, and most of the accounts were technically separate. That complicated recovery. But I had records of my transfers into the wedding account, messages about their intended use, and his admission that he had moved the funds into gambling and debt repayment. The attorney advised me to preserve everything and make no informal agreements. I downloaded statements, screenshots, vendor emails, and messages. Then I asked Aaron for a complete accounting in writing. He sent a spreadsheet. It listed all wedding contributions and claimed we had each provided roughly equal amounts. That was false. He had counted gambling winnings as his contribution. He had also counted the refunded venue deposit twice, once when it was initially paid and again when it returned. The spreadsheet converted circulation into income. When I corrected it using bank statements, the numbers showed I had contributed nearly $11,000 more than he had. He owed me money even before accounting for cancellation fees. Aaron rejected the calculation. He said my approach ignored the value he created by winning the funds back. He wanted credit for repairing a loss he caused through the same behavior that caused it. After I paused the wedding, my fiancé sent a spreadsheet claiming we had contributed equally. He counted the gambling winnings as his personal contribution and counted the refunded venue deposit twice. When I corrected the figures using bank statements, they showed I had put in nearly $11,000 more than he had. Aaron's next move was to involve our families. He told my parents that he had made a short-term financial mistake, recovered every dollar, and offered full transparency. He said I had responded by draining the wedding account and canceling vendors without discussion. My father called and asked whether the money had truly been recovered. I said yes. He sounded relieved. That reaction infuriated me more than I expected. The money being back made everyone want the story to end. I explained that Aaron had used it, lied about where it was, won it back, concealed it, continued gambling, cancelled the venue, and withheld restored funds as leverage. My mother asked whether he was willing to attend counseling. He was. That seemed to her like a solution. I asked whether she would marry someone who had created fake payment confirmations. She said relationships survived worse. My parents did not defend Aaron exactly. They simply valued avoiding disruption. Invitations had been sent, flights had been booked, relatives had bought clothes. The social machinery of the wedding made cancellation feel more expensive than betrayal. Aaron offered conditions. He would close the betting accounts, He would allow me to control the finances. He would attend therapy. He would sign a repayment agreement. He would postpone the wedding by 6 months if necessary. For 2 days I considered it, not because I trusted him, because ending an engagement after 4 years felt like destroying a house in order to repair one room. We had a lease, shared furniture, mutual friends, plans for children, a wedding website with photographs of us looking certain. Then the attorney forwarded a document Aaron had provided as part of his proposed repayment agreement. Attached to it was a statement from another personal loan. The balance was $38,000. I had never seen it. Aaron had disclosed $26,000 in gambling losses. He still owed $38,000 elsewhere. The loan had been opened 11 months earlier. The purpose listed was debt consolidation. I called him. He admitted the gambling history was larger than he had initially described. The $26,000 was only the most recent cycle. Over several years, he had lost, borrowed, recovered, and lost again. He estimated the total amount wagered was more than $200,000. He insisted that was turnover, not loss. I asked for the net loss. He said he did not know. Then I learned the secret account was not entirely funded by recovered winnings. $7,000 came from a loan against his retirement account. He had presented borrowed money as winnings because both arrived during the same week. The $17,000 balance that made me believe the wedding money had been restored was partly new debt. The restoration itself was an illusion. That was the major reveal. He had not solved the problem, he had rearranged it. I sent him one message: the wedding is cancelled. Do not contact vendors on my behalf. He called 17 times. Then he came to my sister's house. He stood outside with flowers and a folder containing printed account statements. My sister told him to leave. He refused until I came to the door. He said everything was finally disclosed. He said there could be no more surprises because I now knew the worst. I asked how I could know that. He held up the folder. I said, "You made a folder the night I found out too." He began crying. He said gambling made him feel as though one correct decision could erase every previous mistake. Each loss became temporary because the next bet might reverse it. The wedding funds felt usable because he intended to replace them. The fake vendor payments felt temporary because he intended to complete them. The secret account felt justified because it represented recovery. Every lie existed inside a future where he fixed everything before anyone was harmed. I believed he meant that. It did not make him safe. I told him the engagement was over. He said canceling the wedding would turn a financial problem into a permanent personal loss. I said he had already done that. My sister called the police when he refused to leave. He left before they arrived. The following week, Aaron transferred $6,000 to me. He described it as my share of the remaining wedding funds. My attorney advised accepting it without signing the release he attached. He then transferred another $3,000 after I documented additional contributions. We negotiated the rest through attorneys. I recovered most of what I had put into the wedding, minus cancellation fees and legal costs. The financial loss was painful but manageable. The social aftermath was worse. Some friends believed I should have postponed rather than cancelled. Aaron told people he had developed an addiction under wedding stress and that I abandoned him during treatment. He did begin treatment. He also continued disputing the accounting and insisting that the money had ultimately been available. Both things could be true. He could need help. I could still refuse to marry him. 6 months later, the date we had chosen arrived. I spent the weekend with my sister. I turned off my phone. The venue hosted another wedding. Marissa sent me a brief message that morning saying she hoped I was doing well. I was not doing well, but I was no longer being asked to treat hidden debt as a payment delay. That mattered. Aaron contacted me once more almost a year later. He said he had been gambling free for 9 months. He had sold his car, consolidated the loans through a formal debt management plan, and moved in with his parents. He apologized without asking for reconciliation. It was the first apology that did not contain a spreadsheet, explanation, or promise of future restoration. I told him I was glad he was getting help. I did not reopen the relationship. the most dangerous part of what Aaron did was not losing the wedding money. It was winning some of it back. The recovery allowed him to reinterpret the theft as a temporary financing decision. It allowed him to hide the restored balance, invent payment delays, and behave as though the only problem was timing. Had he simply lost everything, the truth would have been obvious. Because he recovered enough to maintain the illusion, he nearly convinced me that no permanent damage had occurred. But money does not need to remain missing for trust to be stolen. The deposits came back. The venue date did not. The engagement did not. Neither did the version of our future that depended on his word, meaning the same thing tomorrow as it did today.
You've been listening to Low Light Stories, original fiction for late-night listening. New stories are added regularly, so subscribe if you'd like to hear the next one. Thanks for listening.